In the last 6 months, as the AMC share price has dropped, I personally have lost tens of millions of dollars in the value of my AMC shareholdings and in my granted but unvested stock. I feel your pain, and I'm heavily incentivized to get the value of your AMC shares back on the right track.
So Adam Aron just said this about AMC stock. He was talking for like 30 minutes before he actually started talking about the stock. So I'm gonna just get straight to the point and cut to the part where he started talking about the stock. I am gonna be posting a video later today covering everything that they talked about, but this video is just gonna be what Adam Aron said about AMC stock. So let's get into it right now.
As I said earlier, and as our financial results prove, 2023 was clearly another year of recovery and improved performance for AMC. But it was not a good year for our shareholders. Adjusted for stock splits, the AMC share price has fallen to a fraction of where it was as recently as last summer. And I promised our shareholders that I would use this earnings webcast as a forum to provide them with some straight talk, to give them my take. So here's my take. There is so much garbage information floating around Twitter, YouTube, and other corners of the internet about AMC. Conspiracy theories abound, facts are distorted, bad motives are assumed when the exact opposite is true. So I want to address some of these issues so you get the straight scoop. I can't address all of those issues in the limited amount of time that we have, but I do want to address some of the most important. First, as to all the hubbub and litigation that surrounded AMC in the Delaware courts in 2023, I want to remind you that our shareholders got the right to vote on our proposed actions. And not only did the preferred shareholders vote in favor of what we did last year, but also of the common shareholders who voted, their count also was in the affirmative by a wide 72 to 28 margin. Then the Delaware courts ruled that the company could settle the litigation surrounding those shareholder votes and proceed to implement exactly as our shareholders voted. Second, as to dilution, back in the summer of 2021, it's a long time ago, after it was clear that shareholder sentiment was not wholly supportive of more equity sales, we said there would be no more in 2021. And we kept our word. Some critics, assigning us bad motives, were convinced that we would start more equity sales in the very first week of 2022, since the commitment we made only incorporated 2021. But they were wrong. We sat on the sidelines for almost 8 months in 2022. But by August of 2022, we did in fact introduce into the market AMC preferred equity units because, among other reasons, we wish to make it possible for AMC to raise more cash through the sale of shares if we thought it was advisable or if we needed to do so. We were very clear about this in our public disclosures at the time. Between August of 2022 and June 30 of 2023, AMC raised $418 million by selling what were called APEs. AMC's cash position at that end of June 2023 was $435 million. $418 million raised, $435 million of cash. Do the math. Had we not sold those shares, deduct $418 million from $435 million. Big companies, the size and scope of AMC Entertainment, cannot survive with only $17 million of cash on hand. Similarly, In the full year of calendar year 2023, AMC raised $865 million of cash through the sale of apes and the sale of common stock. We ended the year with $884 million of cash. $865 million raised, $884 million of year-ending cash. Again, do the math. Had we not sold that equity, deduct $865 million from $884 million. Big companies, the size and scope of AMC, cannot survive with only $19 million of cash on hand. We did, in dilution, what was absolutely vital for your company to do to get through the many challenges that have been thrown our way. The absolute smartest way for AMC first to survive and then eventually to be in a position to thrive is to have robust cash reserves. Period. Plain and simple. There can be no argument. Cash is king. Third, from time to time, there have been matters related to the trading of AMC stock that have been of concern to some of our shareholders. As but three examples, the absolute number of failed to deliver shares, synthetic shares, or the length of time AMC Entertainment was on the threshold list, among others. We dutifully have kept the New York Stock Exchange and appropriate regulatory bodies well informed, and we make frequent public filings. But here is a key reminder and clarification. AMC is a company that is listed on the New York Stock Exchange, but we are not the stock exchange itself. Frankly, we have no ability to regulate or enforce trading practices on the stock exchange. And as much as some of you may wish it to be otherwise, our business is the exhibiting of movies in theaters. We are not in the business of reforming the financial markets overall. Then, as to our motives, it's disappointing how many people out there type into their Twitter feeds that the management team at AMC is somehow actively working against the interests of our retail shareholders and instead is nefariously on the side of evil, the so-called hedgies. A company that does not post the kind of improving financial results as AMC just did today if one is out to sabotage one's owners. One does not sell $54 million of movie-themed merchandise in our theaters and online, as AMC did in 2023, versus virtually no sales of such items only a few years ago, if their motives are impure. I should point out, by the way, that selling merchandise was an idea that came in from our retail shareholders, by the way. Similarly, one doesn't launch popcorn to the home or blaze new trails with innovative concert movies that have been incredibly profitable and reputationally enhancing for AMC if one is trying to undermine our company's success. So given all that, then why has our share price been falling? Are those conspiracy theories right? There are many, many complicated factors that affect any share price. Some well understood, some not so well understood. But my own view is pretty basic and overarching. It is this. It has taken way too long for the entire movie theater industry, including AMC, to recover in attendance or to recover financially from the impact of COVID. Also bad, just as adjusted EBITDA in the summer of 2023 was returning to more acceptable pre-COVID levels, no one needed for the movie industry to be paralyzed by debilitating strikes, which will temporarily challenge AMC earnings in 2024. We believe there are numerous other reasons too, like rising interest rates and inflationary wage and cost pressures, among many others. But in my mind, the key issues are, first, the long, drawn-out recovery, and then the strikes of 2023, combined with the steps we've been forced to take to wade through 4+ years of a depressed box office, these are the issues that have pressured AMC share price. So let's cut to the chase. Looking ahead, is there hope? As I stated earlier, the box office should start to strengthen beginning as soon as March, a month that starts a mere 2 days from now. It should further pick up later in 2024, and the box office for 2025 could be very favorable, as movies that might have been released sooner finally get released in 2025. So yes, in my view, there's good reason to be optimistic. That optimism notwithstanding, AMC must continue to address our debt load, extend our debt maturities, currently mostly in 2026, and push them out into later years, and also to ensure that our cash reserves remain robust. That is the recipe for success. Remember what I said earlier on this call. Cash is king. At AMC, our strategy is sound. Run the best company we can. Please our guests at theaters and serve them well. Prudently innovate. Drive the most earnings we can. Reduce debt, extend debt maturities, and have the cash reserves on hand to outlast the tough times. Doing all that, which is what AMC has been doing so well over these past several years, is what makes me optimistic and confident about the future. Because as the clear leader of the movie theater industry and the clear leader by a wide margin, AMC is doing all the right things. There's one more topic that I want to raise before we turn to your questions. And that is our interests, meaning the interests of our shareholders and my interests as CEO of the company and as a shareholder myself are perfectly aligned. I personally am AMC's largest retail shareholder. So, as your shares rise in value, so do mine rise. As your shares fall in value, so do mine fall. In the last 6 months, as the AMC share price has dropped, I personally have lost tens of millions of dollars in the value of my AMC shareholdings and in my granted but unvested stock. I assure you that focuses the mind. In my stock losses, I share in your frustration, I feel your pain, and I'm heavily incentivized to get the value of your AMC shares back on the right track. In the past 2+ years, I have been a holder of AMC stock, not a seller. Indeed, I have not sold a single AMC share since January of 2022. While I have forfeited granted shares on the same day as they vest to pay the federal and state income tax withholdings that are immediately due upon that vesting, I have not sold even one share in the marketplace, not one share in the last 25 months. I wrote often on Twitter that I ride with you. I am a shareholder. I am holding. I'm not selling. I ride with you. So when you get well financially with AMC, I will too. But if you're hurting from that investment, I believe that I too should be hurting with you as well. Therefore, to prove that these words are not hollow and to show executive leadership from someone who is in your foxhole, I want you to know that I recommended last week to the AMC Board of Directors that for the next 12 months, starting right now, my target compensation should be substantially reduced. While my actual compensation can be at the target, below the target, or above the target based on the company's financial results, the board and I agreed that my target compensation will go down right now as we move forward by 25% versus the previous year's target. And maybe even more of relevance if you compare my new lowered target compensation against my actual compensation for the past year, as most recently publicly reported. That's actually a 50% reduction in my potential compensation in the year ahead. There's no anguish in my voice about that. That is what a CEO of a company like yours should do, because I mean it when I say that I ride with you. You now know what I think. 2023 was a year of superb achievement and innovation at AMC. Unfortunately, AMC starts out 24 with $884 million of cash. Cash is king. I've said it multiple times, and that is the guiding philosophy that has caused this company to stay in a leadership posture no matter what the world threw at us starting at 2020 and since. While the box office took a 5-month downturn starting in October of 2023 because of the long strikes in Hollywood, things will pick up considerably soon, and then again later in 2024, and 2025, which in the grand scheme of things is right around the corner, could be a gangbusters year, both for our industry and for AMC as a company. We are in this together, you and I, and here's hoping that we all are smiling as we head into next year. With that, Sean, let's move to questions from analysts and from our shareholders.
So that's what Adam Aron just said about AMC stock an hour after the market closed. Everyone saw what happened with AMC. AMC down 10%. Right now it's trading actually around $4.60. So it's only down about 7% right now, which is pretty bad, obviously. But guys, this was some good news coming from Adam Aron. This was some major news. Let me know what you thought about what he said, and I am going to be posting another video later today talking more about what happened. I just wanted this video to be primarily focused on what Adam Aron said about shareholders. This was a way longer broadcast. I'm only gonna cut down to the chase and get to the important part. That's what Adam Aron said. You know, he went on about the earnings and all this BS, but come on, we just want to know what the hell happened with the share price, and he talked about it. So yeah, that's what this video is going to be about, but stay tuned for my other video that I'm going to be dropping later today. So I'll catch you guys in my next video. As y'all know, I'm buying the dip.
Here we go.